Obama the other day was in Poland giving a couple of speeches over there. And, of course, the Poles, they had a very big experience with big government. They were behind the Iron Curtain for a long time. They were a communist country. And so they had a big belly full of socialism. And, of course, it gave them a very, very upset stomach. They threw it all up. And, you have a lot of free market voices now in Poland. I was there myself, and, there are a lot of libertarians now in Poland. There are a lot of people that understand the problems with big government. Unfortunately, President Barack Obama is not among them. He's basically going back to Poland to really tell people what they need is more government. And that's the last thing the Poles need. And fortunately, that's the last thing a lot of Poles want. They want less government. They want more freedom. And ironically enough, Poland is, doing a lot better in that respect than most countries in Western Europe. Of course, it's not a free market paradise in Poland, but, neither is it in France or Italy or Spain. But, they've got less government, more freedom over there in Poland. And I would be more likely to invest in Poland than I would in, those countries that I just mentioned. But one particular short clip from the president's speech in Poland, I just wanted to play and then comment on it. It is cut number 6.
Here we see independent judiciary working to uphold the rule of law. Here in Poland, we see a vibrant press and a growing civil society that holds leaders accountable because governments exist to lift up their people, not to hold them down.
So governments exist to lift up their people. No, they don't. That's not why governments exist, and governments can't lift up the people. They certainly can hold back the people, kind of the opposite of what the president says. When government is too big, it can hold the people down, which is what it's doing all around the world. And certainly President Barack Obama in America is doing as much as he can to hold the American people down. But government is not there to lift people up. If anything, people are the ones that lift government up. The people support the government, not the other way around. The government doesn't support the people. What governments are there for is to safeguard liberty, to protect private property. That's why governments exist, at least good governments. Right? That's why our government in the United States exists. It's not there to lift people up. It's there to keep government down, to keep government limited. It's there to secure our inalienable rights to life, liberty, and property. That's why governments are instituted. Not to lift anybody up. People have to lift themselves up. The government is not capable of lifting up the people. With what resources? The government doesn't have anything. It only has what it takes. So it's like trying to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, right? You can't lift yourself up, right? In that respect, you can't. The country can't lift itself up by government, because you can't give money to the government. The government says we're going to lift you up, because giving the government it's like a counteracting force. The way government lifts people up in that sense is by fulfilling its actual functions, by protecting private property, right? By having the rule of law, by doing the things that governments were instituted to do that enables individuals to truly lift themselves up through hard work and through the voluntary association of free people, where individuals pursuing their own self-interest and their own profits through the invisible hand help everybody else. And you have people working for their own benefit to the mutual benefit of everybody in society. And when government enables capitalism to flourish by protecting private property and things like that, then you have economic growth. That is why America was so successful for so long, because our government held true to those principles. A limited government instituted to protect liberty and do nothing else. It was not there to lift people up. Unfortunately, that's what President Obama thinks. President Obama thinks that economic success is a function of what governments do. that government is responsible for this, that government has to have a positive role in doing stuff. That without government, everybody would be poor, but government steps in and lifts people up. No. When you have governments that are committed to doing that, they do the exact opposite. They do what President Obama said they shouldn't do. They hold people down. Now, can government lift one person up at the expense of somebody else? Sure. That's what the government specializes in. The government can steal from one person and give to somebody else, right? And certainly the person who was giving something that the government stole, maybe he's lifted up temporarily, but somebody else is smashed down because they've had their purchasing power taken from them.